This is the Business of Leadership Series Minute with your host, the best-selling author of Don't Buy a Duck and founder of MarketingStrategyHero.com, Derek Champagne.
I've got a really great rock star with us today, Christopher Lochhead. He is the co-author of the Harper Collins instant classic, Play Bigger, How Pirates, Dreamers, and Innovators Create and Dominate Markets. He's a co-host of Legends and Losers podcast and has been a 3-time public company CMO and an entrepreneur, very successful. Fast Company magazines called him a human exclamation point. We'll have to find out what that means. And The Economist calls him off-putting to some. Christopher, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Derek. It's great to be here.
Man, I love seeing that. That begs the question. I mean, in your bio, you talk about being 18 and getting thrown out of school, no other options, start a company, and then 30 years in business. You're very successful. You're endorsed by some big names. Your book endorsed by the CEO of Salesforce.com and the founder, Jim Goetz, the Forbes #1 venture capitalist in the world, a partner at Sequoia Capital, all saying big things about what you're doing. So, man, tell me a little bit, take me back a little bit and tell me about your journey being 18, getting thrown out of school, and tell me how you've progressed to where you are today.
Well, when I was a young man, Derek, I didn't know that I was dyslexic. And so I had a terrible time at school. You know, all the tough stuff like math and reading and geography and science and anything like that as I got older and older, ultimately got harder and harder. And of course, nobody really knew. And so I got thrown out of school at 18 for failing out. And I found out at 21 that I was dyslexic. And so as a young man with really very limited options, my options were manual labor job or start a company. And so I had a friend who was in business. The personal computer was taking off at the time, and we decided to start a company. And so for me, and I think it's true for a lot of entrepreneurs, Derek, entrepreneurship was really a way out of a life of struggle. And so ultimately, I grew up in Montreal, Canada, and I ended up, my first company did well for a while and then failed. And I was a loser at 21, and I joined another startup, helped start another company, and then ultimately moved to Toronto and started another one of my own companies, which got acquired by a Silicon Valley-based software company called Vantiv approximately 20 years ago. And so I moved to Silicon Valley, and at 27 years old, I was the head of marketing for a publicly traded NASDAQ software company.
Wow.
And, you know, I just kept going. I went on ultimately to do that 2 more times. And then my last CMO gig was at a company called Mercury Interactive, and we sold that company about 10 years ago to Hewlett Packard for about $5 billion, making HP my favorite company of all time.